Hey everybody, welcome to This Board Game Life, episode number 98, titled Your FLGS. I am one of your fine hosts today. My name is Rob, and with me, as always, I got my good buddy Mark.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
There.
Right
This
here.
is
Right here.
on the right or on the left?
I'm always on the right. Ew.
Okay. Yes. Anyway, this is a show about games, board games, card games, any kind of games, sometimes even video games, maybe. Speaking of video games, I saw that Bullet is out on Steam now. So you can get
Really?
your
The card game?
Yeah, the one that we played when I visited
Bang the
you.
bullet?
No. Bullet symbol. Bullet
Oh,
star.
bullet heart, bullet star.
Yeah. It's called Bullet Surge. I grabbed the demo of it the other day. So there's a free demo that you can play. So just thought I would mention that. So if you're waiting for your big bullet box to show up because you back that, then you might just want to get some Steam action going. But anyway, so there, we just talked about video games briefly. Although that was kind of like a segue into both, right? Because it's a board game and a video game.
I'm going to have to check this out. I'm not a big Steam player, but
the price is right for a change.
Well, it's a demo, right?
Yeah.
It's just a demo of it. Okay.
Yeah. It plays quick. No setup involved.
Game comes out July 11th, so
coming up soon. A little bit over a month, or about 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks. Anyway, this is the show about games, and if you want to see our content, literally see it with your eyes, you can go to YouTube, where Mark has put in a lot of work, and he's done a whole bunch of unboxings. There's some playthroughs, reviews. You can find this podcast on there in audio form. I think you just look at our logo or the thumbnail the entire time. But hey, you can do that. And make sure to like and subscribe if you go out there, because it's definitely something that'll help us out. Helps the algorithm give our content over to more folks. And so what have you been playing lately?
I play and fight with the button to get the subscribe logo to pop up on the screen. I have not. Normally, I have a huge list of games. Yeah. I have been sick for the last 2 weeks.
That's a doozy.
And I'm convinced now that I have developed adult onset allergies, because I went to the clinic after like a week and they're like, "Oh, there's nothing. You don't have anything, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like,
back. Hey, there's no frequent user
no mileage
discount program. Yeah, there's no perks. No perks.
Yeah, I can tell.
To use in the clinic a lot.
So I did get in. I've only played 2 games, which is like kills me to even say that. I've only played 2 games this last week. And so last Wednesday with my group, I played for the very first time A Feast for Odin.
Very nice.
Talk about brain hurt. There's like the amount of things that you got to choose to do is pretty crazy. And I am looking forward.
Was there a feast of options?
There was a feast of options. It was a cornucopia, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, there was. I was like kind of at first just kind of lost, but I kind of ended up just like, okay, I'm just going to kind of do my thing. I'm going to try to just kind of, figure it out as I go. And there's a lot of things I didn't do. There's like, I don't know, 60, 70 something options or something like that you can pick on your turn. And you'll never do them all or anything, but it was a very interesting game. I can see how this is very popular. And I'm glad to have finally been able to play a game that is so highly regarded. So it was fun. I will definitely plan to play that one again.
Yeah, it definitely needs it's definitely one of those where repeated plays makes it more enjoyable, because
Yes.
yeah, you're just not trying to wrap your head around, wait, what are the 14 things I can do again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then last night I got to play Finspan again. So that's if you're familiar with the Wingspan um, family of games, Finspan is the latest in its fish, and had a good time playing it. I think even though Wingspan was such a good game, I think Wormspan is my number one favorite to play of the three,
Mhm.
and just because I really like the way they handled resources. I really didn't like the bird feeder, and you can take resources from the bird feeder, but I don't know. I can't tell you how many times I needed certain things that were not in the bird feeder, and at the time there was too many options that you couldn't re-roll all the dice. So I was annoyed by that, and I like what Wormspan did to allow you to move through a cave and get the resources you need and pick what you wanted. Finspan, I think, is my second favorite. I like it because it's um, again, you don't have you have a little bit more freedom to go get the things that you need, resource wise, and there's not you don't have a it kind of changed it up. There's not a lot of resources in the game. You've got like eggs, young fish, schools of fish, but there's other ways to like place your cards out in your lake by consuming other fish or using your cards as like a resource to play some fish and stuff like that. So it's not as long. You can typically, if everyone knows how to play, you can play it in about an hour. So it's a lighter version of that kind of formula. So if anyone was like wanting to get into this, I would recommend Finspan as your introduction into the series because it's the probably the easiest one to get into. But again, the birds is really cool, and I mean, no knock on that. It's just personal preference. I dragons, fish, then birds. So, but that's all I've played recently. How about you, Rob?
So I got one thing played, and that was Ruins. So this is a new game, just hot off the presses, hot off the Kickstarter presses from All Play, and it arrived the other day. So I broke it out, and this is a game that comes in
It,
there.
it
Yeah, there we go.
arrived today.
Oh,
It
very
arrived
nice.
today, Rob. Don't lie.
Perfect timing. So
You
you
got it
can,
last week, yeah.
yeah, so you can do the like the modeling, like on Price is
Ooh.
Right. Yeah,
Ah.
exactly.
Dun, 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 dun.
Mhm.
Sorry to
But
distract.
oh, no problem. Anyway, so this is a game that I backed some time ago. It was Kickstarter of 4 games in that small box format, which is nice. I definitely do appreciate having a game that's what, 4 inches square. I don't think it's 5 inches
Yeah, you're probably right.
square. Yeah. So that is, a lot more shelf friendly than something like, a Vital Lacerda game from Eagle Griffin, which is like a massive box on the shelf. But so I got this one out, and then I don't know if I totally forgot about this, but as I was going through it, it reminded me of something. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's very similar. And but then it hit me where there was a game that came out in 2017 from John D. Clare, called Custom Heroes. And this is a game that I got introduced to at Gen Con. They had what was it? Like, I think it might have been their 50th anniversary. What was Gen Con last year? Was that 55th
I don't
year or
know.
something like that? Anyway, let's see, when is that? When was? I'm just curious. Yeah, the 50th anniversary was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a crazy time to visit. That was like the first time they sold out. They had this crazy button treasure hunt for buttons, like the pins that kids love. And so we did like 40,000 steps in one day. But in addition to that, went to AEG Big Game Night on Friday, and Custom Heroes was one of the games that they were teaching that night. So, of course, after getting taught it, we all loved it. The kids loved it. So I had to get a copy. And our friend Jay, he was there also with his girls. So they actually got their own copy because the kids loved it. It was very well received. So Ruins is actually kind of like Custom Heroes 2, version 2.0, rethemed. So it's not the exact same game. It is very similar. Um, Very similar card crafting system. It does Custom Heroes had, like anime kind of heroes that you were upgrading. Um, they went away from that whole anime thing and they went in ruins, I guess. But anyway, so this is a card shedding game where you are holding a hand of cards numbered 1 through 10. And what you're looking to do is to shed your cards and be the first one out. A quick example of a turn is you can play like 1, 2, or 3 cards. They all have to be the same. So, for example, you can play a number 2 card. Then the next person has to play like a 2 or higher. And then you go around. If you can't play it, then you pass. And then the last person, standing gets, clears the decks and then goes. And it's a really fun little game. Now, there's card shedding games aplenty out there, right? So how is this one different other than the snazzy ruins theme? It has the ability to have these, I'll call them card power ups. So they are these clear plastic cards that you can buy from a market in the center of the table, and then you can upgrade your cards. You can do various things like increase the value of your card, have that card count as 2 cards. There's a couple of different things you can do. So it's a very quick playing game, um, very fun. It's adaptable to a large audience, right? Old and young alike will enjoy this game. And it definitely, scratch that itch of let's play a quick little card game. So, like, Mark, I would recommend this game for, like the beginning of a game night. It's actually that simple, right? Where
Okay.
it's not like a pure easy, simple, lightweight game. It's just a little bit above that, but it's a lot of fun and it plays quick. Now, the one thing that's kind of a gotcha with this, so if you're going to be bringing this game to game night, I think that you should probably open it up and prepare the game for game night because the plastic cards all have a plastic protection sheet on them. So
Oh.
you need, well, technically you don't need to take it off, but it's there. And I'm one of the people where, like, if there's any electronics that has that little protection sheet on the screen,
Yeah.
I gotta peel it off. I gotta take it off.
Yes.
So and it's not easy to take off either. So if anybody bites their fingernails, they're gonna be struggling.
Oh,
So
great.
you need to, pick at the corner a little bit. Oh boy. Oh, not the knife. Not the knife. But yeah, highly enjoyable game. And it was a pleasant surprise because I totally forgot that it was Custom Heroes. Um, and it was a pleasant surprise, definitely. So that's it for Ruins. If you haven't checked this game out, definitely do. I don't remember how much it cost. I don't think it was very much, but
Nah, it's in their small box game
so
line.
it's
But
less than $30,
so I have a question
probably.
for you.
Yeah.
So if you can see in the video, maybe I got to do it this way. It's sealed. I haven't opened it. It just showed up.
Yep.
There's some lid lift there already,
Hmm.
and then of course I got the upgraded tokens and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Is this all gonna fit in this box?
I'll let you know because it's been out on the table for a couple of days.
Okay.
So
Well,
I have not put it back in the box.
I will find out today because I'm gonna do after we're done. Sometime tonight. I will be doing unboxing videos for all these
Hmm.
games, and my biggest concern is I got like upgrades
Right.
and expansions for all these, and I don't know if they're all gonna fit in back into the box. I have a feeling some of these are not going to fit in the original box. Um, like this one is for Oddland. Like it's a whole bag of a bunch of upgrades. Like I think these alone will take up the whole box. I don't know,
Hmm.
but you can be sure to hit that bell icon on our YouTube channel, and then you'll know when I launch new videos of unboxing. So
Hmm.
if you want to check out this game that Rob's talking about uh, within the next day or two, this video I'll do an unboxing and show it off, and you'll get to see what comes in the box and what it looks like.
Yeah. And I do have to say that those tokens that they have, those torch tokens,
Uh
those
huh.
are really nice. Like the chit, no, not chits. Those are way nicer than the cardboard ones. So I definitely do like those. And the stuff that the game comes with, you only need to keep 4 pieces, and that's above what I'll call the market. There's these 4 little rectangles that have torches on them. Those are the only ones that you need out of the cardboard that you punch out. Everything else you can pitch. So there's a possibility it might all fit back in there along the sides. I'm
But
I'm really curious now. I kind of want to run over there and to the table and put it all
box it up.
away. Yeah,
No.
but we shall see. So if you want to know the answer to that,
Mm-hmm.
tune into
Well,
YouTube.
so just real quick, these we haven't played, but I know Rob's got them as well. So these will have unboxings over the next week. So Rob said there was 4 games that came in this.
Hmm.
Oddland whoop, is
Yep,
another one that came in here, and we also got from Reiner Knizia. They redid Money,
money, classic
and
game.
yeah,
It keeps
and
getting
then
smaller. The boxes keep getting smaller for every reprint.
and then Vegas Strip was the other in this group, and they got a bunch of expansions and stuff like that. So hey, and Rob, don't throw out that wooden token.
I need to throw it out.
You what?
I need to throw it out so I don't spend $9. That thing's gonna cost me $9.
No.
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar, All Play sends you a little medallion that's got a custom code on it. So then you can get one of their little small box games in the future. And I think there's like a couple options and you can pick one, you just pay shipping,
Yeah.
or how
That's
we
why
do
you
it, or you
that's
get
why
them
you
both.
you buy a couple and then you're shipping the others and this one is still free.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But anyway, yeah, Ruins is pretty cool. Actually, now I'm curious how much that thing costs. $19.
yeah, they're
That's
not
yeah.
expensive, so and they don't take up a ton of shelf space and it plays 2 to 5 people in 30 minutes. So I am planning to take this. I do want to So tonight I will get it all prepped and ready. This is the one of the four that I was really looking forward to,
It's a good one.
and I'm gonna take this with me to game night tomorrow night. So
It-
I'll do a playthrough or a run through tonight to learn it, get it all ready to go.
nice. It gets the Rob thumbs up, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, so the game's $19, and then the upgrade, which has the torch chips, and then there's 6 little squares. That's $10. So 29 altogether. And then now I'm curious.
Now
For
curious about what?
custom heroes, how much is that game?
Can you even get that anymore?
Um,
Or is it out of print?
that's a good question. Let's see. I'm searching on AEG's store because this game did come out 7, 8 years ago. Yeah, it's not in their store, so it's probably out of print.
Yeah, it's like it's just interesting. Like you never know when something might go out of print. Something, especially by AEG. Like they might have it for a while, but and it's by a known designer who makes really good stuff. And but if it
Although he
just
was
didn't
a new
hit,
guy back then,
oh yeah,
back in the day. Yeah. Let's see, custom heroes. Looks like it was $70 on Amazon. That's probably one of those.
um, Noble
So
Knight has one. It's looks like it's near mint for $24.
yeah, it looks like it was around $30
Unpunched
when it
cards are
was
sealed.
new. Yeah,
How much?
it looks like it was $30
That's
when it
not bad
was
at all.
new. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. All right. If you're wondering how you can contact us, you've come to the right place because I'm going to tell you right now. You can send us an email at contact@thisboardgamelife.com. We have on our website also a little spot on the right hand side. There's a widget where you can leave us a voicemail or you can send us a recording also at contact@thisboardgamelife.com. And also check out our videos. Make sure to like and subscribe, right? You can do the thing.
Yep.
All right. And, feel free to make comments, either on BGG or on YouTube, any of the videos and stuff like that. We love seeing um, folks chime in. All right. So let's get on with the news. There's a couple, 2, 3, 4 things.
All right.
You want to hit this
So
first one?
yeah, so I'm a big fan of Zombicide, and with everything that's happened at CMON, a lot of people have been wondering what's going to happen to the Zombicide IP. And good news of the fact that it's going to stay around. Asmodee has purchased the Zombicide IP from CMON, and let's see. Let me just read this instead of trying to peruse it. So, financially troubled board game publisher CMON has sold its flagship IP Zombicide to Asmodee, stripping the company of a series which has raised more than $40 million on Kickstarter since its 2012 launch. So it's raised over $40 million in 13 years. That's crazy.
Yep.
So let's see. They said they sold more than well, trying to
So,
think.
so
Oh, here we
that,
go.
so that alone in 13 years was 40 million and Seaman is struggling.
Yeah.
Is there a big Seaman yacht out there or something like that?
Oh, probably.
Yep.
So Asmodee CEO Thomas Kobler said, "We're proud the iconic Zombicide EP further strengthens our tabletop games portfolio and allows us to reinforce our presence in key geographies. Can't wait for the team to get to work at what's coming next for this fantastic IP." So that tells me There's more to come. So, yeah. And 2 weeks ago, Kogler had said that Asmodee's plans to reignite its strategy of buying up smaller board game publishers and distributors remained completely unchanged by the tariff volatility. Um, adding that uncertain times, in fact, present opportunities for strategic acquisitions. So, the thing I like about this is the fact that they are, we hear a lot, especially in the board game world, um, oh, the tariffs this, the tariffs that, you know, big evil orange man. But here's a company going, hey, this, it's an uncertain time, and that's a good time to, make strategic acquisitions. You know, I like that Asmodee is looking forward as like, okay, how are we gonna, what can we do? Like, what can we do during this time instead of just crying about, oh, woe is me, and saying we got no money. So I like that. I like that. I think that means, to me, it tells me Zombicide's going to be in good hands, maybe with a company that's a little bit more financially responsible. And it sounds like there's going to be more coming. It's not just acquiring it and going to leave it stagnant. They've got they're already planning to work on what's coming next. So cool. Thank you, Asmodee, for keeping a great franchise going. And then what was this last one I had? um, so board game manufacturing giant Panda is expanding their production outside of China for the first time amid, again, U.S. tariffs upheaval. So the manufacturing company Panda, like I just said, they're launching a joint venture in Brazil to make board games. So they have Panda has manufactured more than 70 million board games from China since it was
Yeah.
launched in 2007.
They were like the one of the big names originally for
Yeah, so
publishing with the little guy.
well, they handled companies from Asmodee, Stonemaier, and Leader Games to first time creators launching their projects on Kickstarter or GameFound, like you mentioned, the small guy. So I think this is really good that, again, here's someone else that's like, all right, what can we do? Because you don't, the bad thing, I've always grew up learning, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's essentially what all these companies have done. It's like, well, where's the cheap labor? Let's go and abuse where the cheap labor market is. Well, when something happens in the world that, like a tariff war, or you've got pirates, you know, blocking shipping lanes, or, all kinds of things can happen, and you're reliant on one part of the world, that's putting all your eggs in one basket. And soon as anything that would happen there can, as we are seeing, um, can ruin companies. And so I don't. It says they're expanding production outside of China, so they're not moving and saying, "All right, we're going to take our basket and move it over here." They're going to expand, so they got more places that they can produce, which to me makes logical sense. If something's happening, excuse me, then maybe you can shift, for time being, shift over to somewhere else, or or at least have some things getting out, while maybe, if you're publishing, or you're producing your games in China, maybe those might be hit by certain costs or delays, but those that are coming out of Brazil aren't going to be impacted by that, and Panda can keep moving forward. So it just, to me, again, makes sense to broaden your horizons, and not put all those eggs in one single basket. So glad to see that again. So I think some very positive news in the board game world, and we need that. So that's
Hey,
what I've got, Rob.
all right. So one thing that was kind of interesting, and I think you mentioned this to me last week, was Clash of Clans. The Epic Raid is coming to Kickstarter. Actually, it might be already on Kickstarter. I did not check up on it. So Clash of Clans, it's a game that I used to play back in the day, along with Clash Royale and a couple other games that have spun off from that whole Clash of Clans IP slash universe slash whatever. And it's interesting to see that um, it was done by Eric Lang, who, he's pretty much a big name, I think, in board games. And I'm not sure if I recognize the other guy, Ken Gruhl. But what's interesting about this game too is that it has a core set listed on the bottom. So that to me means it's going to cost you more money later on. It's not a one and done by any means. So I thought that was pretty cool, but apparently not cool enough to actually back it. And the other thing was, Mark, this is a game that you and I talked about the other day, Agricola
Yeah.
Special Edition. So this is one that I did back. I got suckered into it along with Puerto Rico that I backed a while back and Castles of Burgundy, which I have no regrets for. Love that game. And, this is one that I was originally on the fence and I bit that hook and it got me. And then I talked to you the other day on the phone and there's nothing worse than waiting for that second reprint when your friends have it and they're loving it and you're like, oh, I gotta wait. And you wait a long time for these reprints too, because Awakened Realms doesn't do
They don't
anything like
rush
super
anything.
quick. Yeah. But what's interesting is, so this thing, I don't think it's been a full week yet that it's been out on Kickstarter. I want to say it started like on the 6th. So as of this recording, it's like 4 days. And it's already pulled in almost 2.7 million.
Wow.
So that's pretty crazy. And I think with what they've done in the past with Castles of Burgundy, I mean, we have yet to see Puerto Rico, so who knows what that's going to turn out like, but I'm guessing it's going to be pretty nice. Agricola is surely going to be the same. I want to say that Puerto Rico hit like 5 million in its entire campaign. So Agricola is now like halfway there. And I looked up Castles of Burgundy. I think the first print run was like 4.5 million and the second one was 6, or maybe it's the other way around. So that one pulled in like 10 across two different or printings. So yeah, it's just crazy to me how like so many people, 10,150 backers already, and there's 15 days left in the campaign. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And if you haven't backed it, what are you waiting for? Got 15 days left or less, depending on when you listen to this.
Such a rude person.
Yes.
Because I was ignoring this one
Mm-hmm.
that you called.
And then I
I
go,
had
you can't take it with you, man. Spend your money now.
talked me into buying it.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't live in regret.
the Clash of Clans is just FYI, it has not launched yet.
Okay.
So I don't think you can sign up to be notified, but I don't see a date. But you're going to get a Golden Barbarian King miniature exclusive if
Oh, yay.
you can get that. No. So anyway,
Actually, yeah, I gotta look it up on BGG, the Epic Raid, and there are no pictures. Oh
Hmm.
well, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. So there's a core set. Yeah. Exclusive Barbarian King miniature and promo tile. Art Archer. Oh, Alt Archer is in there too. Interesting. It's theepicraid.com. Is that where you're looking, or are you looking on Kickstarter?
I was seeing it on Kickstarter.
Oh, actually, that takes you to Kickstarter. But let me see what it can do.
I don't know.
Cahoots. Oh, Happy Salmon. He's done a bunch of stuff. Let's see what's most recent. Clash of Clans. He did Coyote. You Little Stinker.
Hmm.
Happy Salmon.
Yeah, you're gonna be
Something
ordering
with
it.
a fish. Yeah.
You might as well
I
just hit the notify me because you know
Nope.
you're gonna get it.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
I'm gonna
I
call you every day.
I spent I spent all my lunch money. There's none left because somebody was slacking today and they didn't message me that the latest stuff on Feld City Collection started today. So
Oh, did
all
it?
my lunch money went to that.
Oh,
I'm gonna be
all
eating
right. At
ramen anyway.
least
All
ramen
right.
is decent.
Yeah, a little salty, but hey. Anyway, so the title of the show is Your FLGS. And that'd be cool to talk about what makes a great FLGS. So it's not only just friendly, but it's your favorite local game store. Any thoughts on this, Mark? You
Dude,
want to start or?
there's so many things.
Mhm.
Um, so so I have there's
So
two that are near me.
I was going to say let me start off by saying how many FLGSs do you have that you have in your rotation, and how many would you say are your favorites,
There's
or
two.
do you have
There's
a
two in
favorite?
rotation. One is my
Mhm.
favorite.
Okay.
The one of them is really small, and they don't have a lot of they have like a lot of D&D, a lot of Star Wars X-wing, and what is it, Armada or something like that, or whatever that other kind of miniature games.
Legion, I
So
think.
there's only a
Yeah.
small area of some board games, and so there's not a lot. But the store, I love the store because the people that own the store are awesome. They know everybody's name, and when you walk in, they're like,
Like
"Hey, Mark, how
Cheers.
you doing?" Yeah, and they have game nights. They do host things like that, but it is a small store. You're sitting right in the retail space. They put up little tables and stuff, and but it's fun. You can go in there to be shopping, and there's a game going on of like D&D or something like that, and it's just a really nice little cozy, fun store that's very focused on the neighborhood. They give back. They do a lot of things in the community, and I really like supporting them. Now, the other store I go to, because I live kind of right in the middle of these two, and because I live in the country, there's this is one north of me, one south of me. And so the one south of me is the one I just talked about.
Hmm.
The one to the north is the one that you've been to, that I've taken you there.
Okay. With the
And
basement.
yeah, so they've got a you walk in, they got a nice huge retail space on the main floor, and they do lots of there's a lot of like card based stuff like Magic, Pokemon. They have a whole counter just full of like used cards that you can buy if you're looking for certain things. So they do a lot of cards. They have a used board game section so people can, when you want to do a purge, I'll usually go in there and I can sell them my board games if I don't want to deal with it myself. Yes, it's not as good as what you probably can sell it on your own, but then you can just take it in there, they give you a price and you're done with it and you get store credit. So they have, but I have found some used games in there that I have purchased uh, that are good. You know, they make sure everything's in there and stuff like that. So that's nice to have. They have paints, they do miniatures, they have comic books, and then they have a huge retail section of board games with just all kinds of stuff. So I really like that. Now these guys are bigger. They don't necessarily know your name, but they will. They do get to recognize you, especially if you're in there a lot.
You're here
And
again?
yeah, I know one guy does know my name there. Oh, a couple people do. Like the
Yeah.
bartender knows my name, and there's a guy that works. He's in charge of the retail section of the board games area. That's his area. He knows my name. We have spoken about things, but they host. So then you go downstairs, and they have a bar with where they serve food and pizza and desserts and drinks and alcohol. And then that's a huge. The whole basement's like this big game open area with just tons of tables. You can rent rooms if you want to get a room with to close the door to make it a little more quieter for your group. Excuse me. They host events all the time. So there's always like Magic and like Pathfinder and Warhammer. And they actually, because they don't have a board game group, so to speak, of that they do. And that's kind of where what we have become. And I've worked with them to basically become the official board game group of the store. So when people come in and say, "Hey, do you have any regular board game groups?" They say, "Yes, we have a group that meets on Wednesday nights," and they point them to us. And so that's really nice. We're kind of officially, non-officially, that store's
Mhm.
great tabletop game group, if you will.
Nice.
And it's really nice because like when you go somewhere all the time, it's just nice that like the bartender's like, "Hey Mark, how you doing? Is you having the usual this week?" Because I always get a BLT and half order egg rolls and my Coke, right? That's what I get. I eat my dinner there before we game, and I get the same thing every week almost. So but he always asks, "Hey, the usual," and he'll ring me up before, as soon as I'm coming down the stairs.
Hey, Normie,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
usual.
Norm,
It's
Mark.
it's it's like
So
you walk in and they're already preparing it. By the time you sit down, they just put it right in front of you.
They reserve tables for us, so it helps with people trying to find where the different groups. They have tables that will you can get reserved for the different events, and there's just a lot. I mean, they have video games like pinball games and video games downstairs. They have a game library that you can come in and just grab a game off the shelf, sit down, open it up, and play it. I think that's real important for a like a. I like a see. This is kind of almost more than a to me, this is like the perfect friendly local gaming store because they have food, they have games. You don't have to buy a game. You can just go in there and order some food, and take a game off the shelf, and sit there and play a game. You can buy stuff. You can join groups. Sometimes they'll have events where it's like they're going to teach you how to play. I remember that's how I learned how to play Villainous. I went to an event there, and it was just like people could sign up and they would
Mhm.
sit down and they teach you how to play. No requirements. You didn't have to buy it. Nothing. So, you know, all those things to me just kind of like encompasses just what a great friendly local gaming store can do for you. And even on the smaller one, um, they have like I'm like, "Hey, can you get this game for me if it's something I haven't been able to find?" And they'll go out and try to find it and see if they can get it. And
Like through distribution
yeah, through
kind
their
of thing.
distributor. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's just taking care of your customer, getting to know your customer, greeting your customers, and just, and having, as much variety as you possibly can in the space that you have. It doesn't have to be a gigantic store. That's why I still really like the smaller one. And they're the mom and pop where like the one I go to is it's a little bit more, it's like kind of a step up. They actually now have a second location. They've actually opened a second store down south of us, about 30 miles south. And it's like, I went down there on their soft opening day, and I spent a lot of money down there, that a game that I saw down there in the shelf that I didn't see up here, but it was because it came out a couple days after I was game night. Between game night and that Saturday, that game had come out and was on the shelf at my store. But I bought it down there, and I went down there to support them for their soft opening and get to see their new store. And it's just, they recognized me and Eva, who were there, and hey, thank you for coming down. And they were really happy to see us and recognized who we were. And it was like, that's just kind of I like all those things. Just
Sure.
really makes me proud of the store I go to. And some people might say, well, they don't like them because they're expensive. I go to Walmart or Target because I can get them cheaper. Or I'll buy them on Amazon. And yeah, sometimes I still shop. I tend to shop a lot through Miniature Market, and Amazon's tough because you can sometimes find things cheaper, but a lot of times they might not be legit copies. There's a lot of pirated board games that you can get through there. So I like to go. Miniature Market is a place I can go online. They have a physical presence. I think it's in St. Louis, Missouri, I believe. And I've had great luck with good prices from them. If you spend $100, you get free shipping. So, you know, some other places are higher than that you have to spend $150 to $200 to get free shipping. So Miniature Market is usually like $75 to $100. Sometimes they'll drop it down to 75. And their flat rate shipping is still, even if you're paying it, it's like $6. And their boxes have always shown up in great condition, fully bubble wrapped and protected. I've never gotten anything damaged from them. And they always have good prices. They're usually less than retail price. And so if I need something new, or like I just got, I'll show it today. This just showed up unexpectedly from them today. So I got the new Star Wars: The Mandalorian Adventures Planet 2 expansion. I didn't even realize it just arrived today, and I was like, I wasn't expecting it for like another month. So,
Surprise.
but things that I want to pre-order that I maybe didn't back, and I don't want to wait a year for my friendly local gaming store to get it, because they're not always going to get the latest. It really depends on the size of your stores. And so
Or
sometimes
they might
I'll,
just get like one copy.
yeah, they may not, and they may have it. I may walk in there tomorrow and it might be sitting on the store shelf, because I know they sell the first game, so I'm sure they're going to get the second as well. But I'll pre-order some things. I haven't pre-ordered through my game store because I have seen some things show up very late to them, where I've had them for 6 months somewhere
Right.
else. But again, that's all depending on who they use for distribution and when they get their copies. And but yeah, it's so paying a higher price at the store, I don't mind, because I feel like, what, I'll pay a little extra because I'm supporting them. They're allowing me to come in every week with my group, take up space in their building. And not everyone gets food, but most of us do support them by at least buying food and drink and stuff. And there's a place for us to go and meet, and I've met a lot of friends because of this place. And uh, all those types of things go together for me to me, where it's like, this place is a fantastic, friendly local gaming store that I don't mind paying higher price for games because of the services and the other things that go with it. There's those other
Like the value
tangibles.
add. Yeah.
Yes, I don't go and buy a game at Target and then go sit down at the Starbucks there and start playing. You don't. That's not what you do. And they would probably not want me coming up in there every week, or even at the Walmart or whatever. Where Barnes and Noble, you probably wouldn't want your game group showing up to play games in there unless you're buying something. That's what this store's not like that. So yeah, and I think a lot of your friendly local game stores are going to be just, they're there because they love, I know you'll probably talk about a couple of yours, and they're doing it because they love it. It's their passion. They enjoy gaming. They did it when they were younger, and they're creating that environment that they want to be part of as well. So, all right, I'll shut up now.
That's a lot of stuff. No, so
You
I
get all
can.
that? It's a big
I
checklist.
did. I did. Yeah. So it seems like you get a lot out of your store, which is a great thing. So it's not only just a place for shopping, right? For retail shopping, but it's also, you know, an eatery. It's also a gaming place because finding places to game can be tough. Like, especially if you got a couple people, doesn't always work out, in people's houses, or maybe you want more centralized location. And, you know, places like libraries and, restaurants and stuff like that, they don't always work out. And some places want money. They want you to pay
Yeah, and
to to
or
to
leave,
play.
like especially in a restaurant. Like
Exactly.
you ate, and we always eat. I do play the group. Sometimes we go into restaurants, and that's, to me, I'm always feeling so weird about that. But you eat. We always eat, and then we play, and we're sitting there for a couple of hours. And a lot of times, I'm like waiting for someday for the manager, like, "Hey, you guys need to leave. If you're not buying anything, the tables are for customers."
Hmm.
Well, we were a customer, but did we overextend our stay? Right.
It's like you were a
So
customer a half hour ago
exactly
and you
where,
stopped.
yeah, and I mean, we've never gone anywhere that's been busy, like super packed. And I think if people were waiting on tables, we would probably just get up and leave. That we
Sure.
just wouldn't want to do that. So, I mean, we've never run into that, but I always feel like, yeah, they might want to kick us out.
Yeah. So my list is a little bit different than yours. And in my area, I'm down to two stores. There were more. There was actually one that I used to frequent. It was down by where you used to live, right before you moved out of the area in Plainfield. And uh, that one was a family place. It was nice. I even took my son over there a couple of times. We went, it was like a Pokemon day, which was interesting. So that was when he was like really little, maybe like 6, 7, 8, somewhere along those lines. And now that one's too far. So I haven't been there in years. But there was a chain of game stores called the Gaming Goat. So this is, I think in their heyday, they had like 75 stores. A whole bunch of them were here in the Chicago area because this is where they got their start. So there were 3 Gaming Goats that I used to make the rounds. Like whenever I was in the area, I would stop in there. And and then there is this one other store in the northwestern suburbs that's been around for like over 40 years. It is it has stood the test of time where you can see like most of the dudes that are over there, they've probably been coming there for 40 years, uh, nonstop every week, playing their Warhammer, their miniatures games, whatever, their board games, Magic, etc. But I really don't uh, take advantage of anything that the stores have other than their inventory. That I do take advantage of. And what is really important to me is a couple of things. Number one, selection. So the one store when you were out last year, I took you to 2 stores.
Yeah,
So one of them is X Gaming Goat now, and then there's the other store, the Blue Store.
the blue
That
store was awesome.
Yes. So uh, I like them for different reasons, and I'll go into what I think is special out of each store. So first of all, we'll go with the Blue Store. So that one has a little bit of everything. They have a huge selection of everything. I mean, you can go in there, you can get all sorts of miniatures. There's like walls of miniatures, in the little, what do you call them, blister pack or something like that. You can take them, paint them. They have hero clicks. They have millions of dice. They have uh, tons of play area that I only go in there when I need to use the bathroom. That's it. I'm like, shop and leave. I want my goods. I want to take them home. But when it comes to games like board games, they have such a huge selection. And one thing that I enjoy about places that have a huge selection is that sometimes when you're looking for something that's old, sometimes they have it. And when I travel for work, for example, I'll usually hit local game stores in the area and I'll see what they have. And so I'm always looking for that treasure that's been, dusty, sitting on the shelf for years that, nobody locally cares about, but you've never been able to find. But um, I really enjoy places that have a huge inventory of games. However, in addition to having a huge inventory of games, I really like to have the new releases. So to me, that's gold, new releases. And even better if the new releases are in a special section. So one of the worst things is having a big selection and they just file everything. And then you're like, I have no idea what's new. So you just have to
Yeah.
like go through and like look at everything, which maybe is part of that's by design. But I really appreciate the stores that have like an area in the front of the store that has all the new releases, because if you go there regularly, it's awesome to have that area and you can just hit it and go, oh, what's new this week? Because I'll usually go look at the new releases and then kind of like make my way through the stacks and see whatever else is there. So um, the other store, the X Goat store, um, that one is a little bit different. And I still like that store for different reasons. But primarily, what Gaming Goat used to do is everything was 30% off. So you can basically walk in there and get it for the same price, pretty much as, Amazon or, um, Miniature Market, Card House, whatever. So there was that because, part of the fun of going to a game store is looking and touching everything. You know what I'm talking about? It's like you go, you're like, oh, look at
No, I have no
no,
idea.
no, I don't mean like that. Like, you know, like you have your game, like here's Star Explorer, and you're like, ooh, what's this? And then you're like looking at the back. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
look at that. That looks interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll get this one. So, I find myself always like taking the game, looking at the back of it,
Yeah.
feeling how heavy it is, because that is very important. Because a light box translates to light on funds for some reason. Speaking of which, I was at the Blue Store, I think Friday or something like that, Thursday or Friday last week, and they had Mr. President from GMT Games in there. Man, that was crazy. That box is like so freaking heavy,
Oh yeah.
and it was also like over $100. So it had the weight and the price tag to associate with. So if it was expensive and it was heavy, it must be awesome. Isn't that how it goes? But anyway, um, so I do value um, having discounts on games, and that draws me to that other store. Whereas the Blue Store is typically everything's at MSRP, so I'm more selective on of the stuff that I buy in there. So for me, I'd say some of the primary things that make an awesome game store are selection and getting those new releases in. Because I'm going to be honest, I got a store maybe like 3 miles from me. I can be there in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was there once
Yeah.
because, I mean, everything was like over a year old. But I mean,
Yeah.
they're more of a, Pokemon Magic, they're CCG shop, and that's fine. It's just
Yeah.
not what I'm into. But, when I look at the games and I see, oh, there's Pandemic and Ticket to Ride and Monopoly cats, Monopoly dogs. I'm not going to be drawn in there. I
Right.
want to see the games that hit distribution this month. Because we're all about the new hotness, right? It's like a, it's like a problem. I don't know, but the thing that draws me into the stores definitely is getting the new releases in there and having the inventory and having some kind of frequent buyer program or at least a discount that will bring me back as well. And those are probably my key, my three big things. I just wish Gaming Go was still around in its former glory. Man, they had freaking
Yeah.
everything. This was the flagship store, and yeah, they had everything. Which maybe it's good that they're not around anymore. I'd be even poorer
Saves you
than I
money.
am now. Yeah. So when it comes to food, how's the food in your store? Because I know some
It's actually
places.
good.
So do they make food there?
Yep.
So they have a kitchen.
Yep.
'Cause I know a lot of gaming places or game stores. Like if they have a game night, they'll hook up with a local pizza place or something like that, or a restaurant next door, and let you order that.
Yeah, no, this they have their own kitchen, they have their own menu. They're constantly doing like new things. Like each month there's got, hey, here's a new, they actually do pizza now, and um they just put out a thing where they're doing like a pizza for this month, a special type of pizza or whatever. And yeah, they do all kinds of stuff, and their food is actually good. So
Oh, very nice. Now, how are people? So, food and games, that's like a touchy subject with a lot of people. As you know, there's always the jokes about eating Doritos or Cheetos and playing games that gets you banished.
yeah,
Have
we
like
have
you
not had that problem
so do you
yet.
guys eat while you're playing or before?
Both.
Oh,
Like a lot of us will try to show up early and eat beforehand, and we might play a small game while we're eating, because we try to have, but some people can't show up until, due to work and stuff, they show up on time, and they'll eat while
yeah.
they're playing. So but everyone is clean, and they're wiping their hands with napkins before they, in between and stuff like that. So I haven't yet, knock on wood, run into an issue of someone just being a slob and getting the cards or the components nasty. So,
Or how about the like the old there's my oh,
oh,
knocking the
um,
drink over,
I did that once. I felt so
tidal
bad, man.
wave.
I felt so horrible. I knocked a drink, but we had, like, we were crammed into this table. We had too many people, and everyone had their drinks and stuff around. And then it's like, you're trying to like do this, and I just hit mine and knocked it over. And so I try to be very careful. But where I'm at, we have big bar mugs. They're like big beer mugs that we get our drinks in. So like if I hit it, it ain't topping over. So
Mhm.
it's a big heavy
Oh,
mug.
you'd hope not. They're like
I'd have to
the
hit it pretty hard.
they're like the those mugs from Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there's a store now. They have swag for Deep Rock. It's
Yeah.
like
There's also,
deeprockstore.com plus that
yeah, I think,
Kickstarter.
yeah, on Kickstarter.
No, there's an actual store that they have.
Well, I saw something on Kickstarter
Yeah, it was mugs.
about, no, but there was something again. It just popped up the other day.
Hmm.
I saw something about Deep Rock Galactic, and it was swag.
Yeah. Probably deeprockstore.com. Anyway, but yeah, another thing that's really important is knowledgeable staff too, because not that I ask a whole lot of questions, but like once in a while, I'll ask something like, "Hey, like, okay." The main thing that I asked probably within the last couple of weeks was, "Hey, have you guys seen Moon Colony Bloodbath yet?" And unfortunately, the response that I got was, "Huh?
Oh,
What's that?" I'm like, "Okay." But not everybody's going to be up on the latest games, although it is what Rio Grande and Donald X Vaccarino, big names in
yeah.
both. But still, I've never seen that one in retail yet. I bet it's out of print already.
I
There's going to
I'm
be another
pretty
wave.
sure I did neither.
Yeah.
That one was that was a pre-order for me.
Yeah. So they probably had their initial print run just sell out immediately, I'm guessing. And I just kind of like segueing just briefly. I was expecting to see that one on the Spiel des Jahres, and it wasn't on there. Oh well.
Nope.
Yep. But anyway, yeah. So I would say like combining our lists all together. I think selection, um, game space, playing. If they do food or they supply food, that's important. If you're playing locally, selection, new releases is probably a big one because I think both of us like to walk through the merchandise and see what they have. And the new stuff is a lot more interesting than, hey, here's a version of Catan. Sorry, Catan doesn't do it for me after all these years. But yeah, there's that. And then, friendly staff, right? That's a big one for you. Yeah, because how important do you think it is if they know you on a first name basis? Is that show you have a problem? Because
It
there's
could
a
be.
there's a guy at the blue store that knows me. Uh, when I walk in, he actually pulls out so they have these index cards. That's their frequent like shopper program,
Yeah.
and they have them in this like file cabinet. Think of like back in the old days when you went to the library and you looked up the books
The card catalog.
in the card catalog. It's like one of those things. And I walk in the store and he pulls my card out. I don't always buy something though. So
You
sometimes he
have
has
to.
to
He
put it
pulled your
away.
card out.
I know. I know. I know.
Yeah, I don't
But
think it's important. I mean, it's not important, but I think it's nice that they get
it's
that they do
friendly.
remember you.
It's
That
friendly. Yeah.
yeah,
It
and that's
doesn't
part of the
signal, yeah, it does not signal that you have a board game problem or a
right.
shopping
No,
problem at
they
all.
love people with like quote board game problem because they don't see it as a problem.
It's like you're my number one customer.
Exactly. So
Yes.
and having access to new stuff. I mean, my store does get new content. I mean, I bought
Hmm.
Dragon Eclipse when it hit retail brand new. So
Sure.
uh, and like I said, this Mandalorian will probably be sitting on the shelf when I go in there tomorrow. So, but there are things that, like, I have not seen Moon Colony there. There are some things that I have not seen there. So that's why a lot of times, if I know there's something I really want when it comes out, I'll pre-order somewhere, from somewhere else. But
Hmm.
every time I go in there, I look in their shelves, and I buy quite frequently. I'll even pick up older stuff. Like I got to play a Feast for Odin, so maybe I'll pick that up. I know they have that on the shelf. Maybe I'll end up
Yeah.
picking it up, and I'll just get it from them. So, um, and there are things that are newer that will surprise me that I'm like, oh, I didn't pre-order it, and oh, look, here it is. Let me grab it. So, yeah, they got to have new stuff. That you've got to have. that as well. So yeah, I can't think of anything else. I think we covered it all.
Yeah. And so I'm going to ask one more question, basically turning this around
Okay.
in the other direction. What qualities in a board game store do you dislike that would prevent you from going back? And does anything come to mind, or you just
I don't know if I can answer that.
okay?
No,
Okay. Well, I'll jump in. I'll add one or two things real quick.
okay.
So
I do have one
if
thought but
and I'm gonna go on the opposite of what we were talking about, and it's if a store does not have selection, I'm not coming back.
true. Absolutely
And
true.
because there's no point in me going there because I want the games. I want them all to
Yes.
fill these shelves back here. Were you gonna say something, or
um,
were you gonna whatever you're saying is, are you
no,
gonna tame it
I'm
down
agreeing.
for this
I'm
audience?
agreeing. No, I would say, like, if sometimes people can come across like know-it-alls
Smelly,
or snooty or
smelly.
no snobbish, or so it's like if I'm asking a question, and the person that works there kind of like, well, how could you not know that, type of thing, or the if they're a little talking down to the customer, nah, I'm not coming back, I don't care what you have.
Okay,
you
so
know
customer
I that would be
service
a big turn off. Yeah, poor
is
customer
important.
service, or
Yep.
just not taking care of your customer, and not to the extreme of like, I demand everything, you know and but just, I may ask a stupid question. I may ask something that they're like, gee, how does he not know, like, Ticket to Ride is the train game? You come in, well, I heard about the train game, what is it? And if you're gonna be like, well, there's 800,000 train games, how am I supposed
1830.
to know what you're talking about, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I'm like, dude, be nice. Like, oh well, then recognize, hey, here's someone new. Yeah, let's help them out.
Sure.
Oh, you might be talking about Ticket to Ride or Railways, and go take them. And this store, my main store, does that. I watched one of the guys in there do that one day, and he goes around and he like, this, you might like this, or you might like this, or here's how this plays, and talks about that to try to help them make a smart purchasing decision, or maybe they didn't purchase anything. But that's, if you don't have that, if you're going to just be kind of rude and go, they're on that back wall, you'll find them. Whatever. I'm going to walk right out the front door. Like, if you can't help
Hmm.
me. So
And I would add also location. That's another thing. If it's a pain in the ass to get to, or if there's no parking, I know
so
sometimes that's tough in like a city center, but
both of my stores, parking is not easy.
but their benefits outweigh the
Yes.
parking situation.
Yes.
If the store has little to offer and it's in a bad area, I'm not, and I don't, when I
Right.
say bad, I mean a difficult to access area.
So
Yeah, that
the
I'm not
blue
going there.
store, I'd go there. I'd probably be in there every week. The other store you took me to, I probably wouldn't go back.
They moved.
Yeah, it
They're
just seemed like they were not a hard to get to place, but like they were hidden. Like, you I don't think you'd know about it unless you were actively seeking that
yep,
place out.
yeah,
And they were small enough that I'm like, I just go to the blue store. Like, you know,
yep.
that's kind of like, yeah. And I know why you went there, and I agree with why you went there, because they get the new stuff and have the discounts, and
Yeah,
so. But yeah, it's
not a huge selection, but they would get new stuff regularly, and it was 30% off.
that that
And
was the draw. That
and it
was,
was
yeah,
Kickstarter editions usually too.
which, yeah. So, but
So
outside of that,
yeah,
they were lacking like everything else, I think.
yeah. So
Maybe not.
yeah.
I'm not trying to pick on your store. I'm sorry.
No, you're gonna make it cry. But anyway, so
Well, that's okay because we're done anyways, right?
yeah. No, that was a cool little look into friendly local game stores, or your favorite local game store, whichever way you want to look at it, or your favorite friendly, your FLGS. Sounds like a Sesame Street character.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so that's about it for episode 98.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on another fun adventure talking about board games. Hopefully you got some entertainment out of it, and we'd like to hear what you think about what your favorite friendly local game store is, what it has. You get anything out of it maybe that we haven't mentioned yet? We'd love to hear about
Yeah.
it, so let us know. All right, so take us
Absolutely.
out.
I want some voicemails.
Yeah,
I like voicemails.
clean ones.
Yes. It's a family friendly show, folks.
Yes. All right, folks. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you all on episode 99 in 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you all. We'll see you at the table.